guys, I hope you're having a great week. I am back with another scrapbook process video, creating this page using the Simple Stories Bunnies and Blooms collection. It was so much fun to put together and I hope you enjoy watching the process. Let's take a look. The Bunnies and Blooms collection by Simple Stories is actually a spring and Easter collection, and you can see that here with that adorable bunny paper. There's also the garden icon paper, which is a lot of fun, but I was really drawn to the colors, the florals, the plaids, and the gingham checks. It just was a really fun color scheme that went along with my photos really well. As I was flipping through the papers, I came across that blue dashed piece that was left over from a previous project, and I really liked the way that my photos looked against that blue color, so I knew I was going to use that as my photo block. Here I'm just test driving it on a couple of background sheets to see what I want to use as my page base. I looked at the lilac dots and then this blush ledger, and I decided to go with the blush ledger. Now I wanted my photo block to come in from the right edge of the page, so I'm going to trim it down a little bit, and then I'm going to mat that block with the multicolored plaid. I just thought that pattern would look so cute peeking out from behind that blue paper. Now before I do that, I'm going to ink up the edges a little bit with some light gray ink just to give it a little bit of a shadow. And then I'm using this tool. This is an older tool by a company called Making Memories. Unfortunately, they're no longer in business, but what this is an edge distressing tool. And basically what it is a little blade that is encased in that plastic holder. And you just scrape it along the edge of your papers and it just roughs it up a little bit. I believe Tonic Studios still makes an edge distressor, so if you like the idea of that tool, I think you can still pick one up that way. But really you can get the same effect just by dragging your the blade of your scissors across the edge of your paper. Now I wanted to add some more texture, so I took out my sewing machine and just added a straight stitch along the edge of that blue block there, and off camera. It was really quick and easy to do. I don't use my sewing machine for sewing on fabric. I only use it on paper, so I just leave it out all the time, and it's a fun way to add some quick and easy texture to your paper. Now here I decided that I had a little bit of a space on the right of that photo block, and so I decided I wanted to grab a few more pattern papers and add some strips to that right side, just spanning across the edge to fill in that space and also to kind of visually hold down that photo block. So I selected this rose pattern paper with the peach background to match the peach jacket that I'm wearing in the photo, and then I selected that purple polka dot paper to match that purple macaron cookie that my daughter is holding in that bottom photo. I angle cut the edges, and then first I was going to layer them up, but then I decided to just cut them in two different widths. So the thicker strip being the floral and then the thinner strip being this purple polka dot. And then I just angle cut each edge, and then I decided to also run that purple polka dot paper through my sewing machine with a zigzag stitch just to tie it in with the other stitching and to give it a bit more texture. And I'll do that off camera here in just a second. I really like the way that that turned out. So I'll stitch that up, show that to you, and then we'll keep going along with the layout. Now I liked that splash of yellow that added on the right side of the page, so I decided to add in more yellow around the page. So the next thing I'm going to pull out are these journal elements, and I'm going to cut out this yellow journal block here with the flower to tuck in along the bottom. I just was going to write the date on this picture. Nothing, there's not too many details to this memory except for that my daughter and I were having a birthday lunch together at her elementary school. So I had pulled that out, and then I decided that I wanted the title to be in yellow to spread that yellow around. So I grabbed this chipboard piece that says Bloom and added that above the photo. And then while I did that, I also grabbed the rose, the chipboard rose that I layered on top of the rose on the journal element block. And then I added two of the chipboard butterflies to the top right corner. And there I have a visual triangle. So I have my chipboard pieces along with the yellow color in a visual triangle. I also have my photos in a triangle shape, and that just makes things feel really balanced and really fun, and I really like how this is coming together. So chipboard is notorious for not sticking very well, especially when you've got some textured elements, so I just added a bit more adhesive there. Now that I have this design going, I noticed that there's this empty spot to the right of that macaron picture at the bottom of the page. So to fill that in, I decided to add a few more paper strips. And so I'm just repeating that purple polka dot strip. This time I'm cutting the purple polka dot into a thicker width, and then I will cut the yellow floral thin. And I will actually run that yellow floral paper through my sewing machine as well. So you've kind of got the zigzag and the widths opposite of one another on that L-shaped pattern paper strips. That was a mouthful. I hope that made sense. I thought about basket weaving those paper strips together, but ultimately I just put one below and one above, and I really liked how that looked. And I liked how that filled in that spot there. So I'm really liking the design. I feel like it's basically almost ready to go. So now I'm going to move on to my embellishments. I pulled out the decorative brads, and I really like these because they're actually adhesive stickers. So they don't actually have prongs. You just peel them off and stick them on your page, and I love that. I chose to use the dark teal colored brads because my daughter in her shirt in the photo, it has a dark teal color. So I repeated that there, and I added one large one down by the flower and then a couple of medium brads up on the top of those paper strips. Next, I pull out the enamel dots, and I love enamel dots. They're so much fun. And I chose to use the blush color, the same color as the ledger paper in the background, and just add a tone-on-tone texture here and there around the page. So I added a few around the rows at the bottom and then a few around the title. At the end, I'll actually add a few more above the title once I get some things in place. So at this point, I noticed that there's an empty spot above the title, and I want to fill that in a bit. I decided to pull out the cardstock stickers, and I'm going to select some phrases that are more general, that don't have an Easter or spring theme, and just fill those in. And I fussed around with that for a little while, so I spared you all that and just cut that out. And so I just ended up having 3 long phrases above the title, and then I put 2 short phrases to the right side of that rose. The final thing I added was this oval journal bit to the right of the bottom photo. I just wanted to fill in that little space right there. And I like that the oval shape broke up all the right angles of the photos and of those strips coming together in that bottom corner. And that's it. That's the page. I'll add some journaling to that photo, to that journal block, and a few enamel dots to the right of the phrases at the top. Here's a few detail shots so you can take a look, and thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you next time. Bye.